Last episode, we ditched our starter island, found a valley, and plonked down a giant matchbox as we kicked off our new build area, a giant tiny world. I'm still not sure what to call it currently. We also built an OP shulker farm in the end for infinite shulker boxes in preparation for building the ultimate storage system. And today we're going to make a start on that storage system over here at the matchbox. But first, I need to do a lot of resource gathering. I mean, look at all that stuff I need. And yes, that does say dolphins. 70 days. It's been over 70 days of in-game time just collecting resources, but I think we've almost got everything we need. I mean, look, we're at day, what, 1,820 now? And yes, you did see me make a cactus farm there. I really needed green dye. But despite all our hard work and these last few boxes we still need to take over to the matchbox, we're still actually missing a couple of things. The main one of those is actually redstone. I really am struggling for redstone. We even went mining for a couple of hours and I barely got a stack of blocks. So we're gonna have to give that some thought on how we can get loads more redstone. And the other thing we're missing is amethyst crystals, but thankfully we can get those from just under our tavern here. A witch farm, that's what we need. We need a witch farm to make redstone. But the question is, how do I make a witch farm? To YouTube we go. So I've done a bit of research. I found a simple witch farm tutorial by Logical Geek Boy, and I think that's what we're going to do. But we do need to locate a witch hut to do it in, and of course we need to find some resources that we're gonna need redstone, aren't we? Dang it. I've scrounged together enough redstone to make this farm, and I've located a witch hut that we're going to use. I've actually gone through about 3 or 4 different witch huts around the area, and this is the only one that's even on water, let alone actually has some water around it. And that just means that the spawn proofing is going to be a little bit easier. So the farm we're going to build is by Logical Geek Boy. I have linked to that in the description. It's a very simple build. It could be a more complicated one and we could get more drops for it, but for the simplicity of it, it should give us exactly what we need. And hopefully that means it also won't take too long to build. And I think I should be able to get away with modifying the farm a bit as well, because we now have access to tinted glass, which judging by the tutorial probably wasn't out when it was made, but that should make this build a little bit smaller and mean that we don't actually need any of those slabs whatsoever. Just like that, the farm is complete. It basically just has 3 platforms where the witches can spawn. The trapdoors there will release water that washes them into this chamber here, and then they all get crammed into the pile of minecarts down there. There's 24 minecarts on the same space there, which creates entity cramming, which means if anything else falls in there, it will die very, very quickly. So I'm taking extra special care to avoid it. And then on the back here, we've just got a simple timing system that controls the trapdoors using a hopper clock and a pulse extender at the front here. But of course, in order to test it's going to work, there's one more thing we need to do, and that is to go upwards, and we need to make ourselves an AFK platform 113 blocks above. Well, it seems to be working. I've literally only just got to the platform at the top, and yeah, using our free cam here, we can see they're going in there and they're getting killed, which is exactly what we want. One more thing we need to do, though, is spawn-proof a little bit of the area around. So if we turn on our spawning sphere here using Mini HUD and go into free cam, we can have a little look and we can see where the spawning areas are. And to be honest, there are so few of them, just a few torches should do it. So we just need a few torches up on the hill here and a few little bits around the sides. I think we've spawn-proofed everything down here now, so we should be good just to run this farm for a bit and see how we get on. Well, it turns out, although the farm worked, it was quite slow, so I've made a couple of upgrades here so that we're not standing here for weeks and weeks and weeks. And now what we're actually doing, if I peek over the edge here, should be fairly obvious, but basically we're bringing all the witches up the top here now. Here we go. Look, we've got a few more coming in now, and that means I can stand here, I can use looting, and that means we're getting a lot more resources for our trouble. It also means we can have more accessible storage up here, and I've even got this box at the end here which will destroy things we don't want and put them in lava. We haven't got an automated system or anything, but I do have this lever here, and this locks the hopper and stops anything I don't want to destroy going into this area down here. But after a bit of AFK, we have managed to get almost a chest of redstone dust. We've got a decent amount of glowstone, and we've even got a whole bunch of gunpowder as well. Everything else, however, has just been going straight into lava. The downside is I don't have a beacon set up over here at the moment, which means I can't go full AFK with looting because I'll eventually starve to death. However, it does get to a point where mob cramming starts working as well, or entity cramming, whatever you want to call it. But that means it does also work as an AFK farm as well as a looting farm. But for now, I think our work here is done. I have absolutely no idea how I'm going to disguise this farm. I did have a bit of an idea before I decided to put a massive tube on it to feed all the witches up to the top, but I mean, what can I possibly do with that to make it look good? I do not know. So yeah, that's going to take some thought. It may even be a case of coming back and building an uber witch farm at some point in future and making that one look nice instead. I don't really know, but yeah, that's pretty rough. For now, though, it's finally time to head back to the matchbox and make a start. Back over here at the matchbox, this is everything we've been collecting and should enable us to actually make a good start on the storage system. However, before we can do that, we do need to do some digging, and I think this is where we're going to put in the bubble vator to get down into the system. But yeah, we've got a lot of digging to do. Progress. We've got a section above this one, which is where we're going to be putting all the sorting contraptions, or at least the initial ones. And then down here, this is our first floor entrance hall. There are going to be multiple floors, so we need to dig down there. And of course, we need to dig out the areas where we're going to be putting these sorting mechanisms. But before we can do any of that, I need to go fix my pickaxes because they're absolutely knackered. This is a lot of digging. I can't do it. I can't dig anymore. We have done so much digging down here. It's too much digging. I've had enough. Let's talk storage systems. And we're going to talk about them over here in my creative world, where I've been messing around with storage systems for absolutely days, weeks, I don't even know. It's been a while. But the important things from my experiments are all over here. And these are all individual slices of the storage system, and they're going to work in different ways. The question is where to begin explaining this mess. Right, let's just start with some of the slices, shall we? This is a nice basic slice. Let's go with this one. So what I've done is I've designed it in such a way that the interior of the storage system, or at least the shape of it, will be consistent regardless of what the actual sorters behind them are doing. And these three slices here are the main three slices we're going to be using. This one here is just general storage, so this will sort items and stack them into these chests here, so this is good when we've got lots of an item. The next slice along is very similar, except this one here will actually sort two different items and put them into two separate chests, so this is for items we don't have as much of. And around the back here, as you can see, we've got two different channels that the items are going to be being fed along. And lastly, we have this complicated mess here. So this one here is actually a shulker box loader. So certain items we're obviously going to be having loads and loads of, in particular stone, especially after all that digging. And those items we're going to want to filter directly into a shulker box loader. So once again, the items will come across the top here. In fact, there'll actually be a honey block there as well. So the items will come across the top. They'll get filtered like normal. And what it will do is it will go down here into a shulker box. And then when that shulker box is full, that is going to get ejected. And that will filter down into here. And these boxes here are going to contain full shulker boxes of items. Once a full shulker box gets sent off, a new one will get dispensed from here. And we have another channel at the back here, which is purely going to be for empty shulker boxes. And that means we can keep the system full throughout. But until these are kind of a little bit more linked together, it's going to be kind of difficult, I guess, to explain certain things. And you may notice we also have a fourth slice in the back here. And this one, I don't think I'm going to be using, to be honest with you. There's way too many open hoppers. And with the size of the storage system, it's going to create a little bit too much lag. So hopefully that's helped explain it a little bit. But these are the three different slices we're going to use. And I've done it in this way so that as new items are added to the game, we can continually expand the storage system. We can just add new slices for new items as we need them. But like I said, I've been working on this for quite a while, and there is a little bit more. And this is my organization board. These are things I'm yet to figure out and design. And I mean, this one here, we know we can't do till 120, but I am hoping that the chiseled bookshelves are going to help us make a book sorter. And this over here is the flowchart of my storage system, at least the initial stages. There will be more to it as we go on, and by all means, we are not going to do all of this in today's episode, but hopefully this will help give you an idea of what's going on. So we're going to have input chests, and then that's going to filter out normal items and shulkers. The shulkers would then be unloaded, and the shulkers themselves are going to get sent off around the shulker loader system, but everything that's been unloaded will then join it into the all items section. That will then get filtered into a non-stackable sorter, so anything that cannot be stacked will get sent up the top here, and anything that can be stacked will carry on through a normal item filter and will just basically go through the system as you'd expect. It will go through normal item filters. Anything that overflows will then go into the shulker loaders. The non-stackables, however, we will still have lots more sorting to do on these. So we're going to have a potion sorter, which will separate out the potions from all of these things. Everything else will carry on, and then we'll sort out all the minecarts. So this will actually sort every single type of minecart, including ones that are chest minecarts and so on, as you can see from this sign here. And they will then go through into a stackable item sorter, which once again is going to be the same as this sorter here, but separated. And what that means is that we can put all the stackables this way, which will be things like the TNT, the furnaces, the chests, and the hoppers, and all the minecarts themselves can then get sent off into storage. The items that can be stacked, however, will be looped back around and will join this flow here, and once again go into the normal system. Are you following me? This is all very confusing, isn't it? But once we've filtered out the potions and the minecarts, there's still going to be a whole load more non-stackables, and we're then going to sort out the full buckets, which I've yet to figure out on how to design, but I'm pretty sure that can be done. And once again, the non-stackables will carry on, and so on. And we're going to be sorting out as many of the non-stackable items as we can over time. So the initial system is going to have all of these things in it: the shulker loader, the minecart sorter, the potion sorter, as well as the non-stackables, the shulker unloader, the standard item sorter, and the dolphin resetter, which I haven't covered yet, but we will do. Dolphins are surprisingly useful for storage systems that are overly large. On this board here, I have a few other things that I will be adding to the system over time, and I'm sure that this list here will grow as well, but I reckon we can probably figure out a full bucket sorter and a boat sorter. Book sorter, as I say, probably not until 120, and we also want things like display boxes, so when we're gathering items, we can dump them all somewhere and then collect those on our way out, and so on. So hopefully that whirlwind tour has given you a little bit of information on how we're going to be doing things. But yeah, very confusing. But once it's all up and running and working, I'm sure it'll make perfect sense. But as I say, we are still working out the systems for the different sorters. In fact, this is the minecart sorter, and this is the potion sorter. But once again, we'll cover that later. For now, we're going to be building our first corridor, which is going to have a combination of these three slices. And, well, hopefully we can get that done. And have I even dug out enough space? I don't know. We might need to go wider. More digging. I'll be honest, it wasn't so bad that time, it was just a little dig. What was more painful, however, was making all the redstone components we're going to need for this first section, and I think we're going to use this one here, and we're going to make the sorting area for all the wood items. So I think the best thing for me to do is probably just to lay out where the chests are going to be first, and that should make placing the redstone a whole bunch easier. So that's all the chests in place. Now we need to sort out the redstone. And these ones here are fairly straightforward. They're all just the standard sort of impulse SV sorters. So yeah, lots of hoppers, lots of redstone. And I'll bring you back in once this is all sorted. We've now got all the redstone in on both sides, and I've managed to get the water streams in as well. So this one at the top here goes this way, and the one at the bottom goes that way, and that's the same on the other side as well. So the items are going to come in this way, they'll go round the top of the system here, then they'll drop down, and then they'll go around the bottom of the system. However, it's not linked up at the back here yet, and that's because I need to sort out this area here. So for this side, in fact for the wood one, I think I'm just going to put in some manually sorted chests for now, because we're probably going to want to put some sorting systems in for these eventually, but until we work out exactly where everything's going to go, I think that'll be wise. Because this way we can keep a little bit of flexibility going. There we go, that'll do for that side. It's a little bit dark, but we'll sort out the lighting in a minute. In fact, I think we're probably at a stage now where sorting out the interior here wouldn't be such a bad idea. We know all of this is working, we do need to make it look nice in here, and then we can move on to the next section, which is going to be that side obviously, because we've dug that one out, and then start linking everything together. But yeah, let's make this look nice first, shall we? So we'll get some stairs in along the bottom here, and then we'll make these beams here look a bit nicer as well. So if we do some trapdoors, maybe add some stairs, and some at the top as well. Yeah, that looks a bit nicer, doesn't it? So let's get that repeated all the way across. Then we're going to use frames to indicate what is in each row, because the reason I've done these in sections of 10 is because there's, well, at the moment there's 9 different sort of wood types. There's the 7 main ones, then there's the 2 nether-based ones, but we do have bamboo coming, so I've made sure we've got space for that as well. And these chests at the back here we'll just label as they are. So next up, I want to sort out the ceiling, but I've forgotten to bring any of the leaves with me, and we're going to make this whole area here look woody because it is the wood area, and when we actually do the other sections, we're going to theme them to the kind of resources that are in them. But yeah, that does mean we need to go get a bunch of leaves for this one, and I need to get my green dye, which I've left back at home, so we can dye that terracotta and get the floor sorted too. We should have what we need now, and I think what I'm going to do is put a little barrier of dark oak here, and then we're going to build up with some terracotta on top, and then add some leaves in, and hopefully it's going to give us kind of an indoor-outdoor feel in this storage room. So adding this terracotta in should mean that the leaves on the other side here have a little bit more colour, because we don't want to be able to actually see through and see the stone at the top there. That's just not going to look good whatsoever. So let's spam a bunch of leaves in the middle here. And then in the gaps, we're going to put some fences, because that will look a little bit like trellis from the inside, and it also gives us somewhere to actually hang the lights from, which would be quite nice. And then we'll put more lime terracotta on the top here, and a torch just in case. And then from the bottom here, we're going to add some dingly-dangly bits. And then we're going to use chains and end rods to add some lighting to the area, and hopefully this is going to look quite good. Yeah, I think that's going to work quite well. Let's just do this on the rest of these sections, and then hopefully that'll be the ceiling done. You know what? I'm really pleased with that. I think that's come out very well. It's very simple, but it does the job nicely and doesn't intrude too much on the chests or anything like that. But now we need to sort out the floor. So let's get all this stone removed first. And let's start with a base of green terracotta. Okay, not bad, but it's still looking a little bit bland, isn't it? So I'm going to do something I'm probably going to regret down the line. And I wonder if maybe we can get away with adding some kind of an icon or something here. Maybe something like that, just to show that there's definitely trees in there. I think that actually looks quite nice, doesn't it? And for now, on this one here, we'll just put a little pattern in. I do actually have an idea of something we want to put in the middle of this. And I think it makes sense just to repeat that on this one here as well for now. Ah, love it. That's looking really cool. Awesome. Now we just need to actually populate the whole storage center. But for that, I'm actually going to need at least some of every single wood type, because I do need to indicate what's what. And I do wonder if maybe we do that here. And I think we're done. So I've actually just used stair variants of the wood types so we can see what's in each column. And the idea is that this one here would be warped slabs, for example. And that should work throughout the entire system. However, I have concluded that I do actually need a few more sortable areas, because we've still got these 4 items here, which I haven't actually got a proper shelf for. But then I'm not going to end up with loads and loads of them. So I'm not too sure what to do. I mean, maybe I could put like a multi-item sorter there. I don't really know. That's going to take a little bit more fiddling around. But for now, they'll be absolutely fine as manual storage. And we didn't get around to messing with the dolphins today, but we'll save that for the next episode. But that's one section complete. Only another 8 to go.